Humans have always been fascinated by the concept of death. It's a mystery that will at some point concern everyone, yet no one truly understands it. What happens after death? And is it true that we catch glimpses of the afterlife while we're here? Japanese experiment. One of the most beautiful things about science is how discoveries leave us with more questions and open us up to endless exploration. A group of Japanese scientists once conducted a fascinating experiment that explored the idea of the soul leaving the body. They simply wanted to prove that souls do exist, and we can see them if we want to. However, he claimed that they can't be seen with our ordinary eyes, but only with a camera. This particular experiment, however, involved a woman and a camera, and what happened during the process was both mysterious and captivating. The woman sat quietly in a chair with special equipment on her head to put her in a state of unconsciousness. After a while, something extraordinary happened. The woman's body remained in the chair, but something else, something that looked like a dark vapor, appeared to rise from her. It was as if an invisible energy gently came out of her physical form. This same substance then somehow transformed into a figure and moved away from the woman's body. The scientists were so shocked by the results of the experiment that they refused to be interviewed by the media, and since then, they have been out of anyone's reach. It's almost as though they just vanished. As for the woman, no one knows whether her soul ever returned to her body. Highway accident. A terrible road accident happened somewhere in the US, and first responders rushed to the scene. The wreck looked pretty bad, and the responders had to start working quickly, and they began scanning the wreckage for survivors. Unfortunately, all lives had been lost, but as the team moved on, doing their jobs to bring the bodies out of the wreck, something strange happened. Amid all the rush, no one noticed a dark figure rising from the wreckage. It was more like a soft glow, or a shimmering outline of a person. Slowly, it lifted upward, like a mist, and rose into the air. None of the responders saw it. They were all focused on the work of handling the aftermath of the accident. It wasn't until later that surveillance footage showed it hovering above the scene for a moment, as though looking down at what had been left behind. You can see it lingering and motionless before it begins to fade. Within moments, it disappeared completely into thin air, and you would never be able to tell that something so creepy had just happened. When the video first got out, quite a few people concluded that it must have been the shadow of an animal in the woods, but the manner with which the shadow rose was far too suspicious. Robin Hodge. If you're looking for first-hand paranormal experiences, then you should probably ask this mother. Jennifer Hodge, a mother from Atlanta, Georgia, experienced something that many might call extraordinary. 2 years ago, Jennifer lost her son, Robbie, to an accidental overdose, and the tragedy left a hole in her heart. But in 2019, she witnessed something that gave her a sense of peace and reassurance. She believes her late son's ghost appeared on her home security camera, as if to let her know he was happy and at peace. That night, Jennifer was relaxing in bed with her 21-year-old daughter Lauren. The two were watching TV. Then, out of nowhere, Jennifer's phone buzzed with a notification from their security camera. The alert stated that a person had been detected in their entryway. Knowing that they were the only ones in the house, Jennifer and Lauren quickly opened the app to check the camera footage, and what they saw left them speechless. The image captured by the camera didn't show a stranger or even a shadowy figure. Instead, it looked just like Robbie. The resemblance was uncanny. From his familiar frame to the beard he used to wear, Jennifer was overwhelmed with emotion. It wasn't just the physical resemblance, but the timing and how it felt like a message. Could it really have been her son, Robbie? Walking on water. On November 21st, 2020, Chanel Gutierrez, who is also the author of this video, shared a rather strange experience. She claimed to have witnessed what she described as the spirit of a man emerging from the river and walking on the water. The man, identified as Dandan, had reportedly drowned at the quarry site while heroically trying to save a dog that had been swept away by the strong current. In his final moments, Dandan had managed to push the dog to safety, but unfortunately, he lost his footing and slipped into the deeper part of the river during the rescue. But as Chanel zoomed in on the very spot that Dandan reportedly drowned, she saw something really strange. She recalled that what looked like Dandan's soul appeared to rise from his body. According to her, it was as if his spirit was making its way upward and moving above the water. The sight was so scary that it left a lasting impression on Chanel, who was both shocked and deeply moved by what she believed was Dandan's final act and his spirit's departure. Chanel managed to film the eerie and unsettling event on her phone while she was in Davao del Norte province province. She later explained that the experience was both terrifying and completely unexpected. She never thought she would capture what appeared to be a supernatural phenomenon on camera. Eventually, the rescuers arrived at the scene and began working to retrieve the man's body, and given the challenging conditions of the site, they had to bring in an excavator from the quarry to access the area where he had drowned. Despite their best efforts to recover him as quickly as possible, it was already too late. Sadly, the man who had shown such bravery in his attempt to save the dog did not survive the tragic incident. All he did was make one final appearance. Homeless man. A security camera in the street managed to capture this shocking footage, and honestly, this kind of a scene is hard to believe even as you're watching it unfold. It was late at night, and by that time, most of the businesses in the area had already closed their doors for the day. The streets were mostly quiet, with only a few people passing by here and there, going about their own business. At some point during the night, a man who appeared to be homeless decided to rest outside one of the closed shops. However, a few hours later, something unexplainable happened. After lying down in the same spot for what seemed like a very long time, the man appeared to get up. But if you look closely at the footage, you'll notice something strange. His body didn't actually move. It remained completely still, motionless on the ground, while what looks like a shadowy figure, an image that resembles him exactly, seems to rise from the same spot where he had been lying. The shadowy figure slowly emerged, almost as if separating itself from his body, and then it drifted away. Given the man's difficult circumstances, it's possible that he passed away quietly during the night, unnoticed by anyone. If that's the case, this security camera may have captured the exact moment when his soul left his body. A driver's departure. On January 14, 2019, a tragic road accident took place in Hong Kong, China. The accident involved a vehicle that overturned on the road, and sadly, the driver did not survive the crash due to the severity of his injuries. Several other injuries were reported, and the scene quickly became really busy as rescuers rushed to provide aid and assistance to anyone involved in the accident. In the midst of all the chaos, a passing motorist, curious about the commotion, decided to pull out their cell phone and start filming what was happening in front of them. However, what they captured on camera was far from what anyone could have anticipated. The footage revealed something that no one on the scene had noticed at the time. As the rescue team tried to pry open the overturned vehicle and retrieve the driver's body, the cameraman, who had been recording the chaotic scene, suddenly noticed something unusual through the camera's lens. It was a brief moment, but it was enough to make him stop what he was doing and immediately check his gallery to properly review the footage. What he saw left him baffled. The object captured on video seemed too large to be an insect, and its movement didn't look like anything ordinary. If it had been a piece of paper or a bit of foam debris, it would have fluttered or drifted randomly in the wind. Instead, the strange figure appeared to move directly upward, heading straight into the sky. The cameraman couldn't help but wonder, could it possibly be the soul of the driver, the one who had tragically lost his life in the accident? White orbs. This is how a woman named Janice Whitmer describes the moving experience she captured in a 2013 video titled "White Orbs or Angels with My Mother Before Her Passing." The footage was recorded in a hospital in Nashville, Tennessee, where Janice's mother was admitted to Baptist Hospital during her final days. According to Janice, the video just shows how white orbs, which she firmly believes to be angels, appear to hover and float around her mother as if they were preparing to carry her soul to heaven. If you look closely, they are gliding gently through the air, continuously circling her body. Janice shared the video online, where it quickly gained attention and reached thousands of viewers. Many people supported her interpretation, commenting with their own personal stories of witnessing similar phenomena when a loved one passed away. Even some nurses who frequently witnessed their patients transit from life to death also shared their exposure to moments like these. Certainly, Janice would never forget this experience. And now to our ultimate pick, Roadside Man. You may want to sit tight for this one, because this soul sighting may freak you out a little. Because of how graphic it was, the original footage was deleted, and all that's left is this hazy picture. In 2017, late one night in Colombia, a woman stood by the side of the road, waiting for a cab. Just a few steps away from her, a man was trying to cross the road. He looked like he was in a hurry, as though he was running from something. Then out of nowhere, a bus came speeding down the road. The man didn't see it in time, and in an instant it hit him. The impact was sudden and violent. And just like that, he was lying motionless on the ground. The woman didn't even have time to scream. Everything happened so fast. But here's where things get strange. The whole scene was caught on CCTV, and if you watch closely, you'll notice something strange. As the man's body lay there on the street, a faint, transparent figure appeared near him. In fact, it looks like it was walking towards the young woman. No one knows if the woman saw it herself or if she was too shaken to notice. And even stranger, no one really knows what happened to her after that night. Dark hospital spirit. In this video from 2014, we are taken to the quiet setting of an Indian hospital late at night. The scene has very little movement or sound, and you can almost sense that something unusual is about to occur. The hallway appears empty, and there are one or two individuals seen sleeping on the floor. As the camera continues to capture the scene, something happens. Near the entrance to the morgue, a black figure begins to materialize. It starts faint and almost shadow-like, but its shape soon becomes more defined, and it suddenly takes the form of a man. The figure stands motionless for a while, as though contemplating its next move, before slowly beginning to walk down the hallway. However, just as the figure seems like it might reach the sleeping people or perhaps disturb them in some way, it suddenly speeds up. Then it zooms past them at an incredibly fast pace and vanishes into thin air. The individuals lying on the floor remain completely undisturbed throughout the entire ordeal, seemingly unaware of the supernatural figure that just passed by. Many who have watched the video believe that the figure could have been the soul of someone who had recently passed away in the morgue, and a spirit was finally departing from its physical body. In actual fact, hospitals are often considered places where life and death intersect, and so both medical staff and patients often have one or two stories of ghostly encounters. Till now, however, we can't tell what the phenomenon was, or if any life was lost that night. A teacher's tragic departure. This next soul sighting happened in a small village. It was supposed to be an ordinary day, but it turned into something unforgettable when a shocking event happened in the local school playground. As usual, children were laughing and playing when suddenly Mr. Sharma, a beloved school teacher, collapsed without warning. Everyone nearby rushed to help, trying to figure out what had just happened. Among the onlookers, someone quickly pulled out their phone to record the situation, likely thinking the footage might be useful, but what they captured was far from ordinary. In the video, you can see what looks like a faint, misty figure rising from Mr. Sharma's body. What made the situation even harder to comprehend was that he had no known health problems. He seemed perfectly fine before his sudden collapse. Paramedics arrived quickly and did everything they could to try to save him, but despite their efforts, they couldn't bring him back. Mr. Sharma was pronounced dead at the scene. The video, which has now gone viral, shows what looks like a ghostly figure rising from his body right after he collapsed, and some people believe it could actually have been his soul leaving his body. Some others think it's just a trick of the light or a camera glitch, something that could easily be explained by science. Thailand accident. A strange incident in Thailand has left many people questioning what they believe, and it happened just outside the Pheban Srom camp in Lori, Thailand, and was first reported by the Daily Mail. The video begins with a tragic accident involving a truck and a speeding motorbike. The two vehicles then collide violently while attempting to navigate a sharp corner, and the impact is terrible. The passengers on the motorbike are thrown forcefully into the air before hitting the ground with powerful force. Amid the chaos, one of the victims lies lifeless and motionless on the road, but then something completely unexpected happens. Just above the deceased victim's body, a grainy and indistinct shadow suddenly appears. It doesn't move, nor does it dissipate as people rush to help the injured. It just stands there, lingering. The video capturing this bizarre moment was shared on YouTube by a user named Swan on September 17, 2024. In less than 3 weeks, it had garnered over 700,000 views and started a big controversy online. Although it's easy to conclude that because the footage is grainy and not very clear, the entire incident may have been fabricated, but the appearance and timing of the image seems far too coincidental to ignore. Helicopter mystery. In March 2021, a strange event happened in the United States that left people wondering about the mysteries of life and death. An American was involved in a terrible accident in an unspecified state and was critically injured. The situation was so serious that the patient had to be airlifted to the hospital by helicopter. During the helicopter's takeoff, something very unusual was captured. Witnesses reported seeing a shadowy figure appear to separate from the helicopter. It seemed to hover for a while before fading away. Shortly after this strange moment, the patient sadly passed away at the hospital. This incident has sparked questions about whether what people saw could have been the person's soul leaving their body. There have been similar stories in the past where shadowy figures or unexplained shapes are seen during traumatic events or moments of death. Some people believe that extreme situations, like accidents or moments of intense emotional or physical trauma, could make these kinds of events more likely to happen. They think it might show a connection between our physical bodies and something spiritual, like a soul. Of course, not everyone agrees with this idea. Skeptics argue that it's probably just an optical illusion or a trick of the light. They say the shadowy figure could have been caused by the motion of the helicopter, lighting conditions, or even dust or debris in the air. Whatever it is, it definitely had something to do with the person in the helicopter. The departure of a patient's soul. In this heartbreaking clip, a young patient is shown lying in a hospital bed while doctors work tirelessly to save his life. The medical team is focused and doing everything they can to stabilize his condition, and after what feels like endless effort, he seems like he's beginning to respond. The heart monitor finally shows signs of recovery, and for a brief moment, it seems like the worst is over. But just as their hope was renewed, things take a sudden turn. The patient's condition starts to decline again. The beeping of the heart monitor, which was steady just moments ago, begins to slow down. Then something really strange happens. The camera, which had been recording everything, captures what looks like a faint, translucent figure rising from the patient's body. It's as though something unseen is leaving him. The doctors immediately spring back into action and begin performing chest compressions, hoping to bring him back. But despite their best efforts, it's too late. The patient is gone, and the soul, or whatever it was, seems to have already departed. When the doctors re-watch the footage after the episode, they realize that they had just watched life leave a human. It was nothing like they had ever seen. Joe's soul. This strange event took place in Joe's bedroom, where back in 2018, a CCTV camera recorded something unusual and hard to explain. Joe, an elderly man, is seen lying in his bed, completely unaware of what is about to happen. His body is fully relaxed, and he looks to be in a deep, peaceful sleep. Everything seems calm and ordinary until something strange suddenly happens. Out of nowhere, a small white orb appears in the room. It seems to come out of the blue, and you can't help but notice it. For years, orbs like this one have been linked to the supernatural, and a lot of people believe that they represent spirits or some kind of energy. In fact, some people use the terms orbs and souls as though they mean the same thing, but there's a difference. Souls are often thought of as the essence of a person's consciousness, the very core of who they are, which is contained within the body. On the other hand, orbs are believed to represent life energy, something that surrounds and supports the soul. As the video continues, however, the mysterious white orb appears to emerge from Joe's body, almost as though it's connected to him in some way. Sadly, we never got to find out whether or not Joe passed away, but there's a really high chance that his soul was indeed wandering. Soul departs from an assaulted man. In April 2018, in a small town in Israel, chaos erupted, and it was all caught on video. The footage doesn't make it clear what exactly started the commotion, but what we do know is that a man became the unfortunate victim of whatever happened. In the video, you can see the man fall to the ground, while others scatter in all directions, running away in a panic to save themselves. Amid the confusion, a nearby security camera captured something strange. Moments after the man appeared to pass away, a mysterious white light zoomed past the camera at a really high speed. At first glance, it might look like an ordinary piece of paper being blown by the wind, or perhaps a reflection from a car's headlights. However, when the footage is slowed down, it becomes clear that this light isn't ordinary at all. The strange white glow seems to come directly from the man's body, and its movement doesn't align with any other light sources in the area. Since 2018, the footage has been circulating online and drawing a lot of attention from people around the world. Could this mysterious white light really be the man's soul leaving his body at the moment of death? Sudden death. In another mysterious video captured by a surveillance camera, we see a woman going about her day, sweeping the sidewalk. At first, there's nothing unusual about the footage. Everything actually appears completely ordinary, until it's not. Without any warning, the woman suddenly seems to feel unwell. She stops sweeping, and the footage from the camera becomes distorted and chaotic, almost as if something is interfering with the recording. When the video stabilizes again, the scene has changed entirely. The woman is now lying motionless on the ground, and something suspicious is happening. A strange black smoke can be seen rising into the air from her body. When this footage started spreading online, people began coming up with explanations. One popular theory suggested that a storm might have caused electromagnetic interference, which would account for the distorted footage. This theory also explains the black smoke, with some speculating that the woman may have been struck by lightning. However, not everyone agrees with this idea. Others believe something far more disturbing happened. According to these viewers, the black smoke could be evidence of a dark spirit or entity attacking the woman, and they think this may be the real reason behind her sudden collapse and possible death. We can't exactly know whether or not the woman in the clip is dead. What we do know is that something went terribly wrong somewhere. The truth is, death is something none of us can escape. It's just part of life, and when that moment comes, the soul doesn't stay, it moves on. And who knows, maybe someday, someone will see your soul leave your body, just like you've been watching and thinking about it in today's video. If you found this video interesting, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more videos into life's biggest mysteries. Don't go yet. You wouldn't want to miss out on this next video we have for you, where we reveal new dark discoveries about the Titan sub-disaster.